A man who pretended for years to be part of the Rockefeller family was found guilty of murder yesterday. A Los Angeles jury decided the case that originally went cold in the mid-1980s. 48 Hours correspondent Erin Moriarty is in L.A. Erin, good morning.
Good morning. I was actually surprised that the jury came back so quickly. This was a very tough case for the prosecutors. This was a 28-year-old murder. There was no physical evidence, no murder weapon, not even really a motive that connected the defendant. But Christian Gerhartsreiter got tripped up when his ex-wife discovered he was no Rockefeller.
We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Christian Gerhartsreiter, guilty of the crime of murder in the first degree.
He showed no emotion as the verdict was read, but in the end, the man who was so convincing as Chris Chichester, British baronet, and Clark Rockefeller, heir to American wealth, was unable to make jurors believe he was innocent.
Sometimes you're afraid that this guy's conned so many people for so many years that this will be the one last time he pulls off his last con, but that didn't happen.
His own defense team cast him as a con man, but argued he was no killer. What happened?
Unfortunately, a lot of the evidence about the defendant was the kind of person he was, not what he did, and we believe that the jury, to some extent, was inflamed about the kind of person he was.
The victim, John Soas, vanished in 1985, and so did his wife, Linda. During the trial, the defense claimed that it was Linda who killed her husband.
They're going to want you to believe that Linda Soas is exactly like their own client has proven himself to be year after year after year.
The bones of John Soas were found buried in his backyard, wrapped in plastic bags from 2 colleges, both attended by the defendant. But by then he was long gone, living on the East Coast as Clark Rockefeller.
I mean, I thought I was in love with him.
As Rockefeller, he met and married Sandra Boss, a highly paid banking consultant.
I had a private investigator go and try to find out who I was married to, and they couldn't find out.
He was convicted of kidnapping the couple's child in 2009, and that's when investigators on the murder case made the connection. Yesterday's verdict brought relief to the sister of John Soas, and one nagging question.
What did he do with Linda? I don't know where my sister-in-law is. I don't know what ever happened to her.
Erin, we may never know the answer to that question, but you did talk to the jurors after. How did they explain why they were able to reach a verdict so quickly?
Well, this is one case where I was wrong. I actually thought the jury would be out a long time and they might be hung. And the jurors said that they were just for a short period of time. It was actually 10-2 for guilt. But then I guess what really convinced them was, of course, as I mentioned, those bags that covered the bones that came from 2 universities that he went to, but also the fact that the defendant had been driving the victim's car. But there really was so little direct evidence. And of course, the defense tried to point at the missing wife and say maybe she was the killer, that she had more of a motive, and that she was actually more physically able to commit this murder.
Erin Moriarty, thank you.